What if I told you that behind the closed doors of Formula One, a secret alliance could be forming? One that involves Christian Horner, Bernie Ecclestone, and the struggling Alpine team. Rumors are swirling, sources are whispering, and pieces are being quietly moved on the chessboard of Formula One politics. Could Alpine, the team marred by mismanagement and performance woes, be the pawn in a much larger power play? Welcome to the story of what could be the next biggest coup in F1, one that might change not just the fate of a team, but the balance of power across the entire paddock. Let's begin with Alpine. Once a team filled with promise, the Ecclestone-based outfit has become a masterclass in how not to manage a Formula One operation. Since rebranding from Renault to Alpine, the team has seen a revolving door of leadership, public fallouts between senior executives, and a lack of clear direction on and off the track. Remember Otmar Szafnauer, the man who was supposed to stabilize the ship after coming over from Aston Martin? He was dismissed within a year. Laurent Rossi moved to a shadowy advisory role. Even Alain Prost, a legend of the sport, walked away frustrated, calling out the ego-driven culture within Alpine. The 2025 season hasn't helped either. The car lacks pace. The power unit is underpowered. And while Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly are doing what they can, the team has slipped behind even Haas and Williams in some races. For a manufacturer-backed team, this is not just embarrassing, it's unsustainable. Now here's where it gets interesting. Christian Horner, the longtime Red Bull team principal, has been at the center of a storm of speculation ever since the controversy surrounding his conduct earlier this year. Despite being cleared internally, the ordeal fractured relationships within Red Bull Racing and raised legitimate questions about Horner's long-term position. He's denied any intent to leave. But sources inside the paddock have suggested that Horner has quietly started exploring future options, and not just in team management. He's thinking legacy, power, ownership. Now imagine this. Horner, no longer tied to Red Bull's strict Austrian corporate culture, stepping into a leadership-ownership hybrid role at Alpine, a team without a clear vision, but with massive potential and manufacturer support. A team desperate for exactly the kind of ruthless but results-driven leadership Horner provides. But Christian Horner isn't the only player in this rumored takeover. Bernie Ecclestone, yes, that Bernie, has apparently been floating around Alpine's operations in recent months. Though officially retired from Formula One's day-to-day management, Ecclestone's presence always means something deeper is at play. He may no longer run the sport, but make no mistake, Bernie still knows how to broker deals and build empires. For decades, he used backroom politics to build Formula One into a global juggernaut. Could Alpine be his next experiment? Here's what we're hearing. Ecclestone is reportedly advising a small group of investors who are eyeing a controlling stake in Alpine's F1 operations. He won't take a formal role, he's nearly 95 years old, but as a kingmaker, absolutely. And if you pair his influence with Horner's operational brilliance, you suddenly have a duo that could reshape Alpine entirely. Now let's talk about money and motive. Renault, the parent company of Alpine, is bleeding cash across multiple sectors. The EV transition in Europe has been brutal, and Renault's stock has taken a hit. The Alpine F1 program, which was originally intended to promote the Alpine road car brand, is no longer providing the ROI the board expected. In fact, according to financial analysts close to Renault, the F1 division is now viewed internally as non-essential. Translation: if a good enough offer comes along, they'll consider offloading either partial or full ownership. And this is where the Horner-Ecclestone bid becomes a possibility. With Liberty Media continuing to increase the value of every F1 team, thanks to cost caps, a booming calendar, and guaranteed revenues, owning an F1 franchise is now more lucrative than ever. For Horner and a group of private investors, this could be the perfect entry point. So what would a Horner-Ecclestone-backed Alpine look like? First, expect a total clear-out of current leadership. That includes team principal Bruno Famin, technical director Matt Harmon, and most of the upper management structure. Horner would bring in his own people, potentially poaching staff from Red Bull, McLaren, and even Aston Martin. Second, expect a stronger power unit strategy. Whether that means reworking the Renault engine or negotiating a new deal with an independent supplier remains unclear. But Horner has always believed in tight engine chassis integration. That will become a priority. Third, expect better drivers, or at least more aligned drivers. Right now, Gasly and Ocon are both talented, but their dynamic is tense and neither has clearly emerged as a team leader. Don't be surprised if one or both are replaced within the next 2 years. And finally, expect serious investment. With Ecclestone in the background and Horner at the front, Alpine could see a cash injection aimed at modernizing its Ecclestone facilities and overhauling its simulator, wind tunnel, and development capabilities. Let's zoom out. If Horner and Ecclestone successfully take over Alpine, this isn't just about reviving one struggling team. It's about shifting the power dynamics of Formula One entirely. Right now, Red Bull dominates. McLaren is rising. Ferrari is reorganizing under Fred Vasseur. Mercedes is still trying to find its footing post-Hamilton. An Alpine run by Horner and backed by deep-pocketed investors could throw a wrench into everyone's 5-year plan. Think about it. Horner has already beaten Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren before. Give him the right tools and backing and he could do it again. And with Ecclestone orchestrating from the shadows, it's almost poetic. Now let's be clear. This is still a high-risk, high-reward move. Renault may be hesitant to fully let go. Liberty Media will scrutinize any sale closely, and there's no guarantee that Horner, with all his baggage, can actually replicate Red Bull's model at a new team. There are also political landmines to navigate. Other teams may resist any move that consolidates too much power under a single individual, especially someone like Ecclestone, who they still view as a manipulator of the old guard. Plus, there's the issue of fan perception. Will fans embrace this new Alpine or see it as a soulless takeover attempt? In Formula One, power is everything. Whether it's on the track, in the boardroom, or behind the scenes, the people who shape this sport are always 10 moves ahead. Christian Horner and Bernie Ecclestone may seem like an unlikely duo, but when it comes to ambition, political maneuvering, and a hunger for control, they're more alike than different. So could Horner and Ecclestone really buy Alpine? Maybe. And if they do, don't expect it to be a quiet transition. Because in F1, the loudest moves are often made in silence, until the lights go out and everything changes.